the butterfly feeling is not there all the time. If anything, most of the time it's not there. We are going to stick it out. We are going to figure it out. I don't care how hard this stuff gets.
It's all.
And please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying stay in abusive marriages. I'm not saying suffer and be sad. No, that is not what I'm saying. But there are things that must be a last resort.
How do you make us collect money? Give to you. You enter this marriage, and 1 year later, you're telling us that stay in there. You finish our money first. Hi guys, welcome back to Covenant Union with Ray
and Ali.
Yeah, this is a podcast about marriage, parenting, and Christian living. Over time, we like talking about putting in the work, and definitely in marriage, in parenting, in everything that you do, you have to put in the work. We all hear that over and over again, but what does putting in the work mean?
Okay, first of all, I think, like you said, we keep hearing it over and over again from people who have had successful marriages, businesses, anything that has prospered. Everyone will tell you, you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about what that means for me as Ali, first of all, to show up and be able, in terms of marriage, for me to show up and be able to put in the work that I need to in our marriage, I must first work on myself. As an individual, what are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? What do I do to make myself better in the areas where I'm weak?
Yeah.
And as I understand myself better and heal whatever traumas and whatever the root causes of these weaknesses are, then it enables me to show up better in our marriage. The other thing I realized that I've had to work on, and I really think everyone who's married must work on. You know, there's some bits of us that our partners don't appreciate, and vice versa. For example, you're married to somebody who was raised in a home where men don't cook. They just don't know how to cook. They are not taught. They are taught men provide, and that's pretty much it. This is the very person you chose for yourself. This is the person that you love. This is the person you're building a life with. So are you going to stay frustrated for the rest of your marriage, which is essentially the rest of your life, simply because your husband is not
cooking,
being helpful? Look, at least cutting a tomato or something. I would think for me, part of doing the work in a scenario like that is, how do I come to a place of peace and understand that he means no harm. He doesn't mean it in a bad way. It's just that that's his belief. That's how he was raised. That's what's embedded in him. And if I've done everything under the sun to encourage him to lend a hand and he still won't, how do I come to a place of peace to make sure we don't get to a place of resentment and anger over an issue that is not going to be resolved today or tomorrow? You just accept that this is what it is for me and try to resolve it within yourself.
Yeah.
To come to a place of peace and focus more on his strengths than this one thing that he's not doing that is giving you sleepless nights.
Yeah.
So for me, I think those were on an individual level. Those are the two things I could think of what am I doing to work on me before I even show up as your wife.
Yeah.
Because if I'm working on me, then I'm showing up as the very best version of myself for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. What does putting in the work? Let me use the cooking example. Putting in the work would be if someone tells you they expect you to be in the kitchen. It won't hurt.
There's no woman who expects their husband to be in the kitchen.
Yeah, okay, to help out.
Or to every once in a while.
Yeah, it won't hurt to try. That is part of putting in the work.
Absolutely.
Meeting the other person. You don't have to make them compromise on the habits that you have all the time. There are some things that can be changed, really. So putting in the work for me is quite similar. Individually, what are you doing to one, make yourself better? And I realize over time, when you decide to make yourself better, decide to change the way you view the world and start looking at it from a point of view of, I'm going to be the best version of me today, and I'm going to be better than the person I was yesterday. You reach a point where you start to focus on the people around you and the relationships around you, and also figure out how to be the best person to them. So as you're working on yourself, you start realizing, if this habit, or if something I say ticks off my partner, what is it I can do as an individual to change that part of me, so that I can be the best version for not only me, but also my partner? Because when you're working as a team, the strength comes from the both of you.
Yeah.
And when you say also put in the work, when I thought about it, I thought about all the statements that are made about anything, really, marriage, about parenting, about anything. There's so many statements out there, like, you have to communicate with your spouse. You have to tell your children the reason you're punishing them. You have to create a schedule in life. All these things we know.
We do.
We know. It's just like a broken record being repeated over and over again, and you hear people say it, you hear motivation speakers, you hear pastors, and you know that you know those things. So for me, putting in the work means doing those things intentionally. You have to do them. And when you say do them, it's not wishing them.
Yeah.
Because many of us wish we could be a better scheduler. We wish we could be a better spouse. We wish we could be a better husband and father. But we don't do the things that make us that better person we need to be. So you reach a point in life when you have to get tired of who you are, that is not meeting all these expectations of yourself, because we are our greatest critics. We beat ourselves down for the things that we know we can do, and we don't do them. And we go back to the bad habits. We go back to being reluctant. We go back to procrastinating. And yet we see the future of how you could be later. But the work is in doing it now. It's either one day or day one. You choose. And that's life. Every morning you wake up, it's either you're saying, one day I'm going to do this, or this is day one of me doing it. And to put in the work means every day is day one. We learned the hard way. You know the things, you don't do them, you get back into the same issue.
Yeah.
And you're like, but we know this, what is wrong with us? It took that moment of saying no. It actually took a moment of each of us saying, I am done.
For anything, personally, the way my life has gone, especially my adult life, I get to a place where I'm tired of being tired of something.
Yeah.
And that is normally my point of no. Something has got to change. I cannot keep doing this thing and expecting different results. I must change something.
Yeah. Then also surrounding yourself, it always comes to this, surrounding yourself with the right people that help you to do this work. You need to have accountability partners.
Yep.
And it's so important, because when you don't put in the work, you can have someone there to say, hey, by the way, today did you have the 5-minute conversation that you wanted to have with your spouse? And if you didn't, you know the excuses. I know, you see, I was tired. But you have to have someone who says, no, pick up that phone.
Yeah, give a call. You see accountability, and well, we are also our biggest accountability forces, because you can't, it's important that we learn to be accountable to ourselves. If I've committed to something, it's crucial that I actually see it through.
Yeah.
But we also have that tendency to babysit ourselves.
Oh, yes. Yes.
We have that tendency, because you understand your own reasons, you understand your own excuses. Actually, for most people, our excuses sound like reasons. They're not excuses in our heads. It's, but I'm tired. And because you're genuinely tired, by the way. So you will make that, it's not a compromise per se. You'll make it acceptable. Yet you could have pushed yourself
and done it
and gotten something done. So yeah, when it's accountability, it's part of getting things done.
Yes,
it really is.
And you said that, and I got to thinking, and many times when we say things like that, I'm too tired, there's always that voice that tells you you can't do this. And that inner voice, the only way to make it loud is to keep listening to it. And we all have that voice. It's like those cartoons where you have one angel on your shoulder and the devil and the devil on the other one, and they're both whispering in your ears. Who do you listen to?
Yeah. Now you've worked on yourself and you're showing up as the very best version of yourself.
Yeah.
What does it look like to actually put in two people working together?
Yeah. Firstly, I think you need to present yourself to your partner. This is the version of me. This is who I am. What do you think? Let them criticize you. Allow that space of open conversation. And share notes on where you are in life and how you are changing individually. Because when I know that you are working on yourself in a certain area, I might be stronger in that area and I can help out, and vice versa. And when you present yourself, you put yourself right there on the table and say, this is me, openly. This is me. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what I want to change. And it's a very interesting journey that you can actually take together. So even the individual changing can become a partnership. Presenting yourself and your weaknesses and what you're changing helps for the other partner to understand what you're going through at that time. And I think for me that is one of the first things that you need to do when you're doing the work. Present yourself to your partner.
It's being willing to do the things that you know to do. Because when they stay in your head and you're not following up on them, everybody knows. Don't cheat on your spouse. It is. We don't need to preach about this every single day. We all know it. But we also know that so many people have made infidelity normal.
Yes.
As long as he provides, as long as she comes back home at night, as long as you know what to do, but you are still making the wrong choice and telling yourself all these things to make it seem okay. But I'm so unhappy. But we are barely having sex. But she's so busy with her children. But we are always arguing. But what are you doing to fix the core of these problems that you keep leaning into and giving yourself permission?
Yeah, and many times you actually surround yourself with people who will enjoy the banquet at your pity party.
When you say that, for most of the people I know that have normalized cheating in their marriages, unfortunately, they've surrounded themselves with people who don't hold them accountable. Either people feel like, no, that's their business, I'm not going to interfere. They'll fear to even, or they just plain fear to call you out on your bad and toxic habits.
Yeah.
Whether it's drinking, whatever form of habit you have that you could benefit from somebody saying, look, you've got to stop this. You cannot continue on this road. Most of us have the kind of friendships where people will either even protect you in your bad habit.
Yeah, like you've had a bad day.
Sort of encourage it.
Yeah.
But you know how quarrelsome his wife is. This is his place of peace.
Exactly.
Like, something got them to that place. So why don't we go back to thinking about what got us here and how can we heal and make it better?
Yeah. You talked about that and I was remembering way back in our lives when, yes, you'd go out, you drink and all that, and then you start even asking your friends, but aren't you late? Are you going to sleep on the roof? And you know that you can avoid that. And it was one of those things of, when I think about it, might have been actually caught from Proverbs, where a quarrelsome wife, it's better to sleep in the corner of the roof.
The roof, yeah.
Than to stay in the same house with a contentious wife. And that contention is caused by you.
It's caused by something.
Yeah.
And it's something that can always be rectified. Yeah. Doing the work is making sure these things don't pile up to the point of becoming a mountain. We cannot keep falling back on either bad habits or throwing in the towel when things get hard. Because, you know, one thing that I realized, I think this weekend was, it goes without saying that when you get married, it's life, yeah?
Yes.
Hard times are going to come, whether we like it or not. But they are going to come.
The Bible even says so, that be of good cheer. Say the hard times are going to come, but be of good cheer.
So what do you do to prepare for these hard times? You must have that mentality of, we are going to stick it out. We are going to figure it out. I don't care how hard this stuff gets.
It's all.
And please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying stay in abusive marriages. I'm not saying suffer and be sad. No, that is not what I'm saying. But there are things that must be a last resort.
Yeah. And let's talk about the D word, divorce.
The D word.
The D word is like, imagine if every time Tyson was going into the ring, he handed his coach a towel and said, just hold on to it. You may need to throw in the towel. Like, they go in all in, I'm going to win this. They throw in the towel when you're going to die. But basically, there's, of which you just get knocked out, go to the next match and things go on. I've noticed with our generation, we tend to go into marriage with the towel.
One leg in, one leg out.
Yeah. And you say, just in case this does not work, before you say I do, then I have A, B, C, D. It reminds me of our wedding when we got married. Then someone walked up to Ali and said, now you need to buy your land in your names. You need to keep some money on your side.
On the side.
Just in case. And this was a guy. Not even.
What does just in case mean?
Just in case means.
That's not the plan.
You know, when you say I do to all these things, you are walking into a forever after.
Yeah.
Till death do us part. And if you're walking in with your towel, just ready to throw it in, that's not a till death do us part. This is a...
Well, things are good, we'll be here. And as soon as things get hard, I'm running.
And what does this cause? It causes you to have a running mentality. You know, instead of between fight and flight, you're always choosing flight. And in marriage, the fight is a lot. You have to fight through certain hard times. And it doesn't matter, your partner could throw a glass, and because you have come in with a flight mentality, that glass can cause you to think about leaving. He can do the smallest of things, or she can do the smallest of things, and immediately your mind is already going to, where is that door again that I left open to get out of here?
I think we must go back to understanding the vows we take. And sometimes I feel like if we can't do it for ourselves and do things right because we own ourselves, we own our vows, we own our spouses, let's do these things because we fear God and He's asked us to do them.
Yeah, that's one way.
At the very, you can't stand before your friends and family and make vows to somebody only to go and break them?
That time someone once said, how do you make us collect money? Give to you. You enter this marriage and 1 year later, you're telling us that stay in there. You finish our money first. But yeah, it's when you say that, you're making a vow in front of God, your spouse, the parents. One of your uncles at our wedding mentioned something and it stuck. He said, let me hope you people are not here to joke with us. Marriage is not a joking matter. I'm paraphrasing him, but he said, you don't get in to get out. Like this thing, you get into work.
You don't get in and get out when it's not convenient for you anymore.
Yeah, because he said these days people they get in, just test a little and they continue. And it actually caught me because one, I think personally, I never thought about a towel or a door to get out when we were getting in. We knew this from way before when we were dating. And when you start to see your peers not putting in the work, but rather fleeing from their promise, and then you realize that their word, in fact, your word is not as strong as you thought it was. It was that butterfly feeling is all you are using and not your vow.
And unfortunately, the butterfly feeling is not there all the time.
No, it can't
if anything, no, most of the time it's not there. You get into the routine of life and it's the commitment that you made that you must wake up and honor every day. On a good day, on a bad day, you honor that commitment.
Yes. When you want butterflies to come to your compound, you plant flowers. So that means, and to take care of flowers, it's not easy. You have to weed them, you have to water them, you have to prune them. It's a lot of work to keep the flowers blooming and these butterflies coming in. So if you want the butterflies, you have to till the ground.
So, things have happened, yeah? There's infidelity, whatever the issue might be. How do you heal? How do you move forward? How do you actually put in this work to get to a place of peace and get to a place of a flourishing marriage?
How do you get to a point of healing? I must say, without God, it is impossible.
That's true.
It is impossible. You have to engage the spiritual. And when I say engage the spiritual, I mean you have to let your spirit connect with God. Because at this point, your soul is broken. Your body is probably tired. Your soul is where your emotions are sitting. It is broken. And with your soul loves comfort. Your soul loves comfort, so that is a no-go for it. Your spirit man is the one who can handle such disappointment. And the only way to engage your spirit man is connect to the spiritual. Connect to God. Ask the Holy Spirit for help. And unfortunately, I don't see any other way out, because it's not by might or power. You can't say I forgive him by force. But the work to do the spiritual bit of it, that is big work, to make sure that you're in touch with God at all times. You're praying, you are fasting, you are talking to God, you are laying down your feelings on the table. If you need to talk to your spouse, you're first asking God, what do I need to say? And he will not refuse to give you what to say. So when you are in the spiritual realm, it is easy. It's easier for you to have these conversations, even with a counselor, because you'll be coming from a point of I want to heal, rather than from a point of I am in pain. Those are two different angles. Because when you come from I am in pain, and there's no way forward, you're not saying I want to heal, then you'll stay in that cocoon of pain. You'll stay in that pond. And when you say I want to heal, that means there's a road. That I want this to work means there's a road. I want something in the future, because you can't keep looking at now and expect to get out, to expect to forgive, forget, and heal.
I think for me, one of the things I've had to learn, looking back, we've really been blessed that we've not had like any major strife, like something that really, I think also it's because from the very beginning we were clear. We are in this thing to be in it, and
this is what I don't want, this is what I don't want, and so we don't do these things, and let us focus.
Let's figure out whatever happens in the middle.
Yeah.
But I've also learned one thing that's been helpful for me is to, of course, communicate how I'm feeling, but also in the process of healing, not to use my pain as a weapon. So say, okay, maybe you've said something that has hurt me, and then at every chance I get, I keep bringing it up. It's like I keep reminding you, oh, by the way, you caused me this pain. And it's not to say don't acknowledge the pain you're feeling, but once you've made the decision to move on, and you've had that conversation with your person, they've probably apologized. And there might be instances in life, even just beyond marriage, where a well-deserved apology never comes. And you must work through getting to a place of peace and finding a way to live without that apology. For me, I made the conscious decision never to use my pain as a weapon. Because all it does is derail the process of healing, really. It's like you just move on and then you bring it back, and then move on, bring it back. Like, to what end? If we are in this thing to heal, let us heal and then move on. And I must say that process is not an easy one. It's so intentional. It's so, your carnal mind will bring up all these feelings, and you must suppress them in that moment. Say, no, this is not going to benefit either of us. The other part of doing the work, we like to talk about healing and how the victim is supposed to move on, and we sort of forget where the issue came from. Yet they're the ones that have actually caused all these things. For me, doing the work when the one that has started an issue or caused it is actually be intentional about getting to the root cause of why. What led me to this place where I hurt my partner this bad. And now that I know how I got there, what do I do to make sure this doesn't happen again? How do I make them know daily that
I'm working it.
One, I'm very apologetic for the way I've made them feel, but how do I reassure you daily that this is something I will never repeat? Then with those strategies, I actually set out to do them.
When you're putting in the work, you need to work on making sure that you're not forcing your partner to heal.
Yes, you have to be patient with their healing
Very
process.
patient. You have to let them heal the way they heal. It is not the way you heal. And you have to be able to put yourself in their shoes. There are not two people who have the same feelings. And when it comes to man and woman, well, it is worlds apart. And the sooner we understand that, especially for the ladies, they need more time to heal. Men, we have this throw it away and go on with life. And you're wondering, why is she still... It's 3 days, really.
Let it go.
Let it go. Men, we heal... The way men heal, we can have an argument at 5 p.m. And at 7 p.m. I'm there saying, so babe, can we go to the bedroom, and you're looking at me like, we had an argument. What? Like, yeah, it's going to fix it. Like, in the man's mind, that is
part of the solution.
Part of the solution. And yet, to her, she's wondering, how can you even be thinking of sex at such a time as this? Do you know what you have done? And I think also now for women, it's strange, because say if your wife has hurt you and you're pissed off, but funny enough, when you're pissed off, she's now confused. Is he going to talk to me? Is he not? Then the night comes and he's talking to you. He's solving the problem with this issue. We are just too physical. So that's why we don't understand the, let me dwell on this and think about it. And we know how to push things under the rug. But when you understand that your partner doesn't work like that, you start to learn how to sit back and validate them and watch them walk through. And through many years, you start to realize the pattern of how they walk through. And then you learn how to walk with them. There are times when you need to be there, there are times you don't need to be there. You start to learn those different dynamics of the relationship.
I think the last thing I want to say about doing the work is it is very heavily characterized by discipline.
Yeah.
In everything you do, putting in the work, it's just a discipline issue.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And enjoy it. Enjoy putting in the work, because that's something that you've chosen.
Yeah. And not enjoying it then makes it tedious.
Yes.
It's just, so I have to do this again.
But meaning, when you don't feel like doing it, doesn't mean you don't do it. You still do
show
it.
up and do it.
And doing these things, always at the end of it, you get happy. You get
Always.
happy. Yeah. And you see the change, you see the difference in your marriage. So I think that is it for putting in the work. And I hope you guys picked out something. For those who are not married, you also need to put in the work when it comes to relationship.
Really.
It's actually not just marriage, it's everywhere. You just need be intentional about doing the right thing. And I hope you subscribe, like, share, tell someone about Covenant Union, and we shall be back next week. And I'm Ray.
And I'm Anna.